All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to FEMTECH LIVE Lounge, a quarterly discussion that celebrates the intersection of technology and the AI industry. This series is presented by Virtual Patent Gateway. Today's discussion is moderated by Shirley Fung, co-founder and patent agent at Acona IP. Holding both a bachelor's and master's from MIT in electrical engineering and computer science, Shirley has honed her expertise across various esteemed organizations, including Big Law in Boston, boutique IP firms in the Netherlands and in the US, and a global semiconductor leader. Joining Shirley is Pooja Aphale, founder of the Consulting Joint, Lissi Mojica, head of IP strategy at Garden, and Eberle Schultz, patent attorney, life sciences, IP litigation. And with that, I'll hand things over to Shirley.
Thank you, Caitlin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the FEMTECH Lounge, where we explore the ideas, innovations, and people shaping the future of health tech. I'm your guest host for this episode, Shirley Fung, and I'm thrilled to be moderating today's panel discussion. The views and opinions expressed during this panel are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the official positions of their employers or affiliated organizations. This discussion is intended for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, business, or medical advice. Today's theme is innovation at the intersection, IP, business, and the future of health tech in the age of AI. We're talking to legal and business minds about how to shape the future of health tech, FEMTech, in an AI-driven world. We're diving into how intellectual property strategy, business insight, and emerging technologies are converging to shape the next generation of health tech and FEMTech products. I'm joined by three incredible panelists today. We have Pooja Aphale, a data professional and entrepreneur offering her consulting and technology experience to emerging markets. She believes there's a strong need for all types of businesses to focus on customer insights in order to increase revenue and gain a competitive advantage. She received her Master's of Science in Analytics from the Institute of Advanced Analytics and has held senior positions at Deloitte Consulting, Walmart e-commerce, and Google Cloud. We're also joined by Lissi Mojica, a seasoned post-grant specialist with over 36 years of experience in the patent industry, including 19 years at the USPTO, and is currently the head of IP strategy at Garden. Lastly, we have Eberle Schultz, an IP attorney specializing in the life sciences space. A seasoned patent litigator, Eberle has represented pharma and biotech companies from pre-funding startups to major established international brands. Eberle regularly advises clients on patent and IP strategy, international portfolio management, and global litigation management. She regularly consults clients on issues related to IP. And a huge thank you to Virtual Patent Gateway for providing the resources and the platform that make this podcast possible. We're excited to bring you this conversation live. So let's get started. This is a question, first question for everyone. When we first got together to prepare for this discussion, we talked about how there isn't a unified definition for FEMTech. So let's start by talking about what it means and how do each of you define FEMTech and what excites you the most about where it is headed. Pooja, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you, Shirley. So I've defined FEMTech as products and services that have benefited the lives of women, especially when it comes to their health and well-being. And some amazing companies that come to mind in that space include FlexDisc, Natural Cycles, Teal Health, Incora Health, and so many more.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. What about you, Lissi? Eberle, how do you define FEMTech?
I define it the same way. And what I think is the greatest thing about FEMTech in the space today, especially with AI, is and the virtual aspect of it is mental health. I think mental health for women has been an issue that no one talks about, and the accessibility of virtual platforms has really helped women because you just don't have time. You have families and you have work, and it's just super important to have the mental wellness, and then managing stress. So there's all kinds of programs out there that have stress management tools that you can do. The key is that you can do them either with your watch or online or through some kind of program, but they all have the commonality that is more on demand as opposed to having to physically go somewhere, talk to somebody, or try to manage stress in a different way. So I think that these tools, the emergence of these tools has really helped women in particular because our schedules are so intertwined with our family and work, and really it's very constrained.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's bringing that technology and making that more accessible to women.
Yes.
That's how you define it.
Super important way. And I think that's so, like if I had these tools for stress management when I, had 3 kids, a full-time job, a house I'm running, it would have really helped me like mentally and, physically to be able to manage all the things that I had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not unique in any way in that, respect.
Yeah. I think Pooja also makes a good point that it's really about marketing some of these products directly to women and making the case for the value being added for them. And that's definitely emerging. What about you, Eberle? How do you define FEMTECH?
Yeah, I think that in the past, FEMTECH has, the evolution of FEMTECH started with this concept of women's healthcare and products directed at, women's health needs and the like. And we have incredible examples of successful products. And as, Lissi, mentioned, much needed products and resources for women in their day-to-day lives. I think what is really exciting about FEMTECH as an industry is it encompasses not just specific products or this niche market of women's healthcare or women's health needs, and is really expanded to this conceptual area of the commercial industry, right? And has burgeoned to not only include specific products or specific areas for innovation, but entire ecosystems supporting women's health, supporting FEMTECH as as an innovative, creative hub for all of these new potential resources and ideas and businesses to come to bear. And part of that ecosystem involves now bringing in not just the individual contributors or inventors or the women or people who are starting FEMTECH companies based on particular products or services, but it also includes now the investors and the other areas that are relevant and critical for the success of an entrepreneur or business, FEMTECH included, but historically have not always been equally accessible to the number of inventors and entrepreneurs that we're seeing in this FEMTECH specific space.
Mm-hmm. It's more than just a product. It sounds like it's about a community and an ecosystem.
I think so. And I think that's what's really exciting about it, because now it's not just individuals who recognize the need and are trying to do something about it, but, it's an awareness from others in the industry, people in marketing and commercial development, product scaling, lawyers, IP lawyers, and especially investors that are necessary to get a business off the ground for most people.
Dare I say it's a movement of some kind?
Yeah. I'm not going to stop you.
Okay. Well, this is a question for Pooja, based on a lot of the business experience that you've had. What do you think are the key ingredients for a successful health tech or FEMTECH product today?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'd say for most products, whether in the FEMTECH space or not, the recipe for success, I think, starts with attending to the customer's needs and then actually leading your customer to solutions that they likely wouldn't have thought of themselves. And FEMTECH products are no different. It's about listening to the customer, analyzing different data points that you receive through product feedback or in purchasing habits, and then implementing some of these changes to your products or services to see if those changes actually retain your existing customers and are starting to attract new ones as well. I feel like this is the best way to guide a FemTech product towards success. And I'm happy to chat further with anyone in the audience, whether in the FemTech industry or not, about utilizing customer insights to increase revenue after this call.
I think that sounds great. I'm curious how companies actually obtain these customer insights, but I think technology seems like it's really helping now that you can actually provide feedback much more easily and gather that feedback much more easily. So definitely curious to talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many feedback collection mechanisms, whether using the latest technology we have today or otherwise. And of course, analyzing all that feedback, utilizing machine learning and AI algorithms just speeds that process up and gives more fruitful insights.
And this is a question for both Lissi and Eberle. What are the most common pitfalls that health tech or femtech founders or any really innovator out there face today? And how can they avoid them? What will drive the success of the next company out there? And what would move femtech forward, in your opinion?
So I think that the biggest obstacle for women and, even women-led companies, you have your company, but confidence is a big issue for women and moving forward and believing in yourself. So I think that that's one of the biggest obstacles. It seems trite, but really having the confidence to go out there with your product and knowing that your product is great and successful is one of the biggest obstacles for women. And I think that it's important, and it's also like it blocks funding. And what they need to do is do the research, because now there's many funding opportunities for just women out there, and those are the kind of things that you need to research and look for and find out, like, what are those opportunities, and go after them with confidence.
I like the tip you gave all of us before we went live, was to actually put up the pose of confidence before entering into a meeting. I think I need to share that with many more other founders and innovators out there, is to gain that confidence.
Pose. There's research that shows that the Wonder Woman pose, if you go into any meeting, any interview, before you go into any of that, there's literal research that shows that position actually gives your mindset more confidence. Because it, like, you're putting your shoulders back, you have your stance, and it really provides you with more confidence as you're going into something. And I used it for coaching, I use it for interviews. Whenever I get clients, it's always good to go in with a mindset of confidence.
What do you think happens when somebody goes into a boardroom or does a pitch and didn't have that confidence versus somebody actually with that confidence? Like, what do you see that is benefiting somebody having that confidence versus somebody who doesn't?
You can walk into a room and bring everybody down. Like, you can walk into a room and have a face, and people will be like, ugh. And then they're not going to want to buy anything from you. They're not going to want to listen to what you have to say, because whatever you have to say clearly is not going to bring them joy. And so literally walking into a room and with the confidence that what you're saying is correct, in your mind anyway, and men have that. Men can walk in there and then they know that they're right, and they haven't even thought about it.
Yeah.
That's just in their natural being. And that's something that we as women need to work on. But it's a very powerful tool because it just energizes the room. People think that you have confidence, and therefore you become attractive.
Is it a fine line between confidence and overconfidence?
I think that's only for women, honestly. Like, I think that women are being seen as overconfident and men are seen as just normal. So just be yourself and be as confident as you possibly can about your product or about whatever it is that you're walking into that room, whether it's, you're going in to talk to the principal about your kids, or whether you're going into the boardroom and you have something to pitch.
Mhm.
Either situation, you have to go in with confidence, and 99 times out of 100, I think it's going to work for you because people think, oh, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like we'll have the problem of having overconfidence, which is good. So
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Let's hit the confidence bar first. Eberle, what do you think? Did you see any common pitfalls, founders, innovators, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that confidence is really a key component and a multifaceted component. You have a great idea, you have a great product. There's no reason not to be confident in it. So you're walking in and you're selling it, selling your idea, selling your business, your product to investors, and you should be confident in what you have created. And I think that one of the common pitfalls, but also on the flip side, one of the things that can contribute to your sense of confidence regarding your product or your idea is IP protection, right? If you have a great idea, it's worth protecting. You need to protect it, especially if you're going to try to get investors or other people that you want to sell it to. And IP is the way that you do that. If you walk in with a product and you're trying to get funding for it, and you're walking into a room of investors, saying that you have patent protection or you have IP protection that covers your product gives you that extra vote of confidence because it's someone else saying from the patent office or from the trademark or copyright office, this is an invention. This is an idea that is tangible, and you're walking in and you're selling it. And that IP protection can give you that kind of extra oomph. And it also separately is just a prudent thing to do before you start talking too much about your product or your ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and having that confidence, knowing that you can actually apply for patent protection for your ideas and not being afraid to get that protection for the ideas that you have, I think it's also very important too. Because I often see people think, oh, I don't really think my idea is that great.
Yeah. Well, you have to think it's great. Otherwise, you'll never sell it, right? If you don't believe in your own idea, then it's a non-starter from the get-go. But you do need that patent protection to protect yourself and to protect your idea, because not every investor that you speak to is going to bite. Not everyone that you try to partner with is going to turn out and result in a partnership or an alliance or a license. It's important that you protect yourself because the IP that you have is the core of your business, and the future success of your business is directly tied to it being protected. Your idea is a good one. It's worth protecting. Get the protection and then sell it.
And definitely before you go and sell your product, make sure you have non-disclosure agreements, because
you have to protect yourself.
You have to protect yourself. Even if you have a patent, you have to protect yourself. I can't tell you in the 36 years that I've been in this business how many people have come to me and they've, even with non-disclosure agreements, they have been, moving forward and talking to people, and then they just take their ideas and they're gone. So you have to have protection. You have to get a lawyer to come with you to these discussions. Don't think you can do this on your own. Find funders that are willing to back you up and take these ideas to get them licensed or get them enforced. But trying to do it on your own is a very bad idea, I think, because if it's a great idea and most likely it will be, then like Eberle said, you want to patent it. You want to make sure you get protected, file for an application, but you have to go to somebody that'll do that for you. Doing that on your own doesn't provide you with as much protection as it would if you did it with somebody that knows what they're doing.
And not to circle back, but I think one of the other obstacles that's also a key to success is mentors and mentorships, models. Find somebody who has done this before and pick their brain. Ask them what they learned, what works, what doesn't work. Make sure that you have someone guiding you through the process. We are not all experts in starting a business or creating a product and forming a company around it. Some people are, but most of us are not. And we need other people. We need that ecosystem. We need that FEMTECH community of collaborators. And that community also has to include people who have been through this, who have done what you want to do and have come out on the other side and can help you guide you through that process. Because otherwise you're flying blind, and that's never fun for anyone.
Yeah. And thankfully we're not alone, and for the most problems people have encountered before. So we just need to make the effort to go out and ask for that
and
help.
it may be, one of your investors turns out to be that person for you who is able to be kind of a confidant, and help guide you through the process beyond just investing in your product. You never know where these people are going to come from. So tap your network, tap your network's network, and find somebody to help guide you through the process.
I like what Lissi also mentioned too. Even if you get patent protection, make sure you take all the other steps to protect your ideas, like getting your NDA. Always taking that belt and suspenders approach, because you can't just do one thing. You have to do multiple things to make sure that you're well protected. So that's also really good advice.
And building that community helps too. Like I said, like make sure you have a community of mentors or partners or whatever it is to build that network of people that are going to steer you along the way.
Do you have any advice for people on how to actually build that network? I mean, the network is so important. Knowing the right people is important. And for somebody who may not have started doing this, what do they need to do to actually get started to build that network?
So I think like organizations, like there's like Adapt Legal, there's even AIPLA, IPO, these for small entrepreneurs, it's a very small price to go to these conferences. And then you can meet people in the space, start networking, reach out to women. There's this organization called CHIPS, Chief IP Women. They're nationwide now, and they have free things that you can attend as well as their conferences. But I think that the free things, just find things that are free, conferences you can attend, even online things. There's Women in IP networks. And so there's a lot of things out there that if you just search and look for it and then create this network, it'll help you get through the process. And as Eberle said, you want to be able to get through this process without not alone. You need to be able to have the partners and the network to be able to get through it.
And I think, Lissi, that's exactly right. And it kind of it harkens back to what I was saying in the beginning about what is exciting to me about the future of FemTech, that it's really morphed into this concept, and there's a lot of attention. There's more attention from the typical industry, right? Big pharma is getting into, women's healthcare. Investors are looking at it. People who wouldn't normally invest in these kind of this, what was historically has been a niche or non-existent market. So all of those things are important because there's a lot of attention, and with attention come resources. Lissi mentioned some of them. LinkedIn, look at your own network first. The schools that you graduated from, your undergrad, your college, your whatever schools you've attended, do they now have an incubator or an innovation hub? Lots of schools do. Get active in your community in terms of the area of industry where you want to live in that space. In addition to the IP resources that Lissi mentioned, you can also find resources for women who are working in life sciences. Women in Bio has chapters all over the country, and it's a group of women who are working in the STEM fields, the life sciences STEM fields generally. So it's lawyers, it's C-suites, it's potential investors. There are lots and lots of resources. You search LinkedIn and you will find someone who 2 degrees is connected to you, and work those personal connections. They will help you get your foot in the door.
Yeah, there's also, I heard about I can't tell you the name of it now, but it's a women in AI space now. that I saw on LinkedIn the other day that I thought, oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't
that is
have to
pretty
hit them
awesome.
up for money first. They're women investment groups, groups and organizations of women angel investors or, women VCs who want to invest in femtech products and companies. You can just reach out to them and ask them for advice. Ask them, find one that's local to you and, ask them to meet up. So you can just pick their brain. Those are how the relationships start. You don't have to reach out to a VC and in the first instance, ask them, for your valuation or whatever, funding you need. Ask them where to start. People want to give advice.
Putting yourself out there and do it with confidence, it sounds like, is the way to go.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, AI. So AI is transforming health tech, any technology and work for that matter. What are the opportunities and also risks for health tech and femtech companies using AI? Pooja, would you like to take this one first?
Yes, I can. I'd say AI, like any innovation out there, can open a myriad of opportunities, which is great. It can also expose us to risks. So it's all about how the user interacts with AI and what governing rules are in place for the user through whatever software they're using. And in the femtech space, I think that AI could be most useful in a couple examples. So one would be consumer-facing applications, and the second would be healthcare assistance. So in the first example, you could imagine something like using AI to answer questions that women have about their anatomy or biology. And then in the second example, AI could be used to analyze different health metrics or different inputs and then assist a healthcare provider in sharing a more knowledgeable diagnosis. Of course, keeping in mind that they should use their domain knowledge when providing those recommendations. What do you think, Lissi?
So I think that AI, of course, I'm at an AI company now. So I feel like the most important thing to do with AI, like you mentioned, Pooja, is partnering with AI. Like if you are to use AI in any form, and it's an incredible tool. AI and language models I think it's exponential what's happening, and every moment the models are improving, and it's very, very helpful. But you also have to, I think one of the biggest pitfalls is relying on it too much without actually looking at the feedback that it gives you. So it's important to have that feedback. And it's important to it's important for you to partner with it, and whatever you put in, it's going to put it out. Garbage in, garbage out. So if you're gonna give it instructions, you have to give it very detailed instruction as to what you want, how you want to reframe it, in order for it to help you, give you answers that are good for you and good for whatever it is that you're trying to get through. So especially, if you're going to use it for any kind of like health questions or anything like that, make sure that you give it as much information as you possibly can and have it lead you through, but you have to lead to it. I think that the biggest pitfall with not partnering with it is thinking that it knows what you're thinking and asking general questions, and you get answers that may not be exactly what you want. And to circle back to investment groups, How Women Lead is an incredible resource for women, and they have informationals about how you can invest, and they also they have lots of informationals about those throughout the country, and they also provide you with they do support women-owned ventures. So it's all about women at How Women Lead. And so I really recommend that you look into that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like the point about integrating AI into the work that we do in technology or the business in a thoughtful and deliberate manner, partnering with them, making sure it actually works with your business. Eberle, what do you think about this elephant in the room, AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an inevitable piece of our world, and will become even more so moving forward. I think investors want to see AI and having AI involved in your business plan, but it shouldn't be your business plan, right? AI should help supplement, should be incorporated into your existing workflows. It should enhance your product. It shouldn't be the core or the foundation, or your product itself should not be AI. AI can make everything better. It can move innovation forward faster. It can help ramp up, a product and get it to the commercial market faster, sooner, and more comprehensively, to a larger market than without. But you have to have your own idea. You have to have your own directives, your workflows, your input, and let AI enhance that and make it better and more comprehensive. It should be an additive, not a substitute, and certainly not the driver.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It should be part of the business plan, but it shouldn't be the business plan.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's got to be other substance to the business than simply using AI as the business. So,
right.
Well, I have another question, and this one going back to Pooja. So once the founder has a company and a product, what are the next steps that you would give as a consultant to these emerging businesses? And what should founders think about and consider from a business perspective? And how does IP usually come into play from your experience?
Great questions. You might have guessed, but I'm going to circle back to focusing on the customer as the best next step. I think when you focus on these customer insights, it's where the opportunity lies for product companies and FemTech or otherwise to increase their revenue and gain that competitive advantage. Also, I feel like attending to a customer's needs, it actually ends up serving as a channel for business growth, because these satisfied customers will inadvertently champion your products and services within their own communities. And on a related note, speaking about customer insights and data, it is vital to use data as an asset to validate or invalidate your decision-making for any part of your business, and regardless of what stage your company's in. And now circling back to IP, there are actually benefits of open source innovation. They help propel product discovery and development forward, and that open source nature actually allows more people to have a seat at the table. But on the other hand, it would be wise for FemTech product companies to maintain that IP so that their product quality and efficacy can be upheld. So a little bit of a balance there.
Yeah. I think it's commonly mistaken that open source can't be protected, but they're not. I would say IP-wise, in terms of IP legal protection, they're not mutually exclusive. And
nice.
Yeah, and I think I do like the fact that you brought up open source, because I do think that plays into the community. Open source community is very community. Well, it's the idea of open source is very community based. You're really trying to build a community to actually build this better and make it improve based on all the people's contributions and by making it available to the community. So I like that you brought up open source.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah. Any advice from the folks that work in the IP trenches?
I think, Lissi, I'm going to jump in here first, because I think, being aware of what is yours and what belongs to somebody else is important. And if it's yours, you need to protect it. And if you're using things like open source, you need to be aware of what might belong to somebody else, depending on the open source, the information that you're using that's available through open source channels, because ownership will get sticky when your super awesome product is successful and starts making a lot of money, because nothing garners more attention and more people to come out of the woodwork and want a slice of your pie than a successful company or product. So, with great success comes great risk, and the way to avoid those risks is to protect what's yours, be aware of what you're using that might belong to somebody else, and IP is the core of that. Make sure your product is protected. It doesn't have to be a patent, but it has to be protected, because otherwise it will be misappropriated. It will be, it will be taken by somebody else and it will be used. And what are you left with then? So really at the core, and before you, ideally before you get funding, and certainly before you start marketing your product, you have got to have that IP protection in place. Most investors will ask about, IP protection before they're even willing to invest in something, because they don't want to invest in something that will be, it's not protected and can be taken by anybody else and used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one thing people don't realize is that if you own the IP, you actually have control over who gets to use it, including letting it become an open source project. And so the first step really is to protect it and own the IP that you have. And then that decision, that you can make that decision later on whether you want to make that open source or not.
Right. But that's your commodity. That's the core commodity of your business, is your idea or your product, your concept, whatever it is. That's what your business is founded on. Lissi can go into more detail about how to make sure you're doing it comprehensively and throughout the life of your company.
Yeah.
Well,
what are some sorry, go ahead, Lissi.
go ahead. So people think of intellectual property of just being patents, but copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets. I mean, a lot of this AI information, like the patent world, is on this little seesaw as to whether or not you can actually patent AI and large language model type information in your patents. So while we're in that realm, you have to ensure that you are you're putting it in trade secrets, and you can look that up, talk to a lawyer about trade secret, but whatever your product is, you have to decide whether or not you want to get a patent, a trade secret, or whether it's copyright, whether it's trademark, whatever it is, you have to make sure you protect it. And now that we have all these great tools in order to be able to, like at Garden, we can go out there and look at all that's out there in your product, and then you can file continuations and protect your product to the maximum extent that you can. And this just wasn't available to you before. There was like freedom of information, or not freedom of, like you can go out and look and see what's out there, and but not the way you can today. Today, the AI tools just lets you do that instantly, and you can reframe your ideas and protect them in ways now that you weren't able to do that before. And so I highly recommend, if you have FEMTECH products or whatever kind of products you have to do your due diligence. You go out there, see what's out there, use tools like the ones at Garden or any other place, and go and see what's out there, see how much protection you have, see how valid your patents are. And even if you have a patent, there might be something else out there that was out there way before that the examiner missed. So all these things you have to ensure to make sure that when you go for funding, you have all this in place. And that's when the funder is going to pick you up very quickly, because you've done all your due diligence.
Yeah, it sounds like besides protecting your IP, the first step, do more diligence to leverage all these new tools that we have at our fingertips now, being able to search for information much more quickly, having these AI agents to be able to do research for us, and consume more of that information. This information is a king now, more than ever.
And you can get a lot of this from just ChatGPT. I mean, start there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that brings us to the end of today's panel. I do want to thank our brilliant guests, Pooja, Lissi, and Eberle, for sharing their insights on how FemTech founders can navigate the complex but rewarding intersection of innovation, intellectual property, and strategy in the AI-driven world. Caitlin, would you mind putting up the slide? We did collect some resources, including the ones that we have talked about today, that shows some resources for FemTech. You can join communities, look at industry research, investment groups, and get legal support. We hope today's conversation gave you practical insights into how legal and business strategy can drive meaningful innovation in FemTech. Today's panel reminded us that innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It takes legal foresight, business clarity, and a deep understanding of users' needs. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. And once again, a big thank you to Virtual Patent Gateway for supporting this series and helping us amplify important conversations like these. If you enjoyed today's session, be sure to follow Virtual Patent Gateway on LinkedIn. Ashley Chung from Virtual Patent Gateway will have a few closing words for us today. Ashley?
Hi, thank you so much for being here today and do our season finale. I just put all of the amazing FemTech leaders in season 2 on the chat so that it lives on. But I really wanted to just applaud how amazing women leaders can be in supporting one another. And it all started from me having an idea, and then before you know it, I just have like all of you guys taking time of your women, taking time to basically share with one another, and there's so many amazing conversations and support that we wouldn't have otherwise. So thank you. And season 3 is going to start in March. And I already set up the day. I touched base with Caitlin. And the other thing that the other people that I really want to thank are the team at BPG, a video editor, Caitlin Nelson. Without her, I was like, oh, thank you for not dumping me, because otherwise I wouldn't know what to do. So I really do appreciate that. And again, amazing. And we are not even 145. That's amazing. So thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. We're part of the movement now.
Oh yeah, we're moving something. All right.
We would be remiss to not congratulate you on the end of another very successful season.
Yes.
FEMTech Live Lounge. It was a great idea. We're looking forward to next season, season 3.
I'm already noodling around the new format, so only time will tell. And
you're giving us a teaser about the new and upcoming year. And thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
And thank you so much.